So I'm going to start out with an introduction for Joanna. She's an assistant teaching professor in creative writing at Rutgers University. She's the author of 7 books of poetry, including To an Era, which was published with Hanging Loose Press in 2021. Her new book, Data Mind, and that's M-I-N-D, is officially out today from Curbstone Northwestern University Press. And we're thrilled and congratulations for that launch of a new book. I will be putting links in the chat as we go along for where you can purchase those books and make it easy for you. Also, if you want to put questions in the chat, you're more than welcome to, but we will take time at the end of both poets reading to do a short Q&A, so you can also save questions for then and ask them then as well. Joanna first published with Hanging Loose Press as a teenager and became a co-editor in 2022, which is amazing. Northwestern University Press says, Joanna Fuhrman didn't grow up online. Her generation entered the digital age as adults with optimism about the possibilities it would bring for community building. In the alien landscape of the internet, they indeed found moments of joy and connection, but they also watched in anguish as what had been sold as a utopian space instead magnified the anti-democratic demons of necro-capitalism. So her book has been called Darkly Comic and Surreal, and I can't wait to hear some of those poems tonight and any others you wish to read to us. Welcome, Joanna.
Hi, everyone. Because it's the publication day of the book, I'm just going to read from Data Mind, which is all poems about the internet. So I'm going to start by just showing you some of the memes in the book. There's a bunch of sections, and each section is divided by a sort of poetic meme. So all of the language is similar or the same as the language in the poems. I'll just show those to start. So this is the first meme. I'm not showing all of them, but these are some of the memes in the book.
Oh.
I know I'm probably going too fast.
Yeah.
I'll start again here. The first one is, it's still a language if no one understands it. And then, in my past life, I was only 57.5% data. And then, if my eyes are actually windows, I'm happy to draw the blinds. Here. So now I'll read some of the poems. And thank you all for being here. The internet is not the city, so no one can see your red pimple or your purple wheelchair. My optimism about this is stuck in 1997, but what do you expect from a woman whose wrinkles are deep enough to reach her subconscious? As a preteen, when I first rode the subway alone, I carried a heavy Walkman, listening to upbeat songs about the end of the world. Back then, the cars were wrapped in unreadable, brightly colored names. I thought of poetry as a way to get lost, like the internet, but I hadn't yet heard of the internet. Back then, I didn't need to get lost to feel lost. I spent so many hours on the phone talking to my friends that my neck ached. I wrote in a poem, talking is like going swimming in a small pool. You think it's the ocean until you bang into the rail. Did you know that your doppelganger is licking chaos on the dark web? She's crafting Purim cakes out of the blowtorch carcasses of last Thanksgiving's turkeys, leading glow-up tutorials for itinerant mushroom clouds, gaining a following for her ASMR-inspired parenting technique, redecorating her mudroom, using only syringes from defunded needle exchange programs. And yes, even if she failed to build a following for her hair shirt competitive haloxing tournament and her sex to her daughter's college prof got leaked, then turned into memes, you can't minimize her success lip reading the habits of highly successful crustaceans or ignore the admiration she earned after she, from the mouth of a live volcano, live streamed giving birth to a dragon. When she traded her red handkerchief for the screech of a hawk, the chips on the table caught fire. Have you ever considered that it's your hair that's burning? If so, please click here. A refund is on the way. It's not a language if everyone understands it. The problem with living one's life online is there is no problem. You wake up, pet the cat, throw some words into the void, and the next thing you know, your death is sitting right there, wearing a red prom gown and throwing paper airplanes through the window. Is this what you imagined it would smell like when your childhood unraveled? Burnt rose stems, underwire bras. The night you dream about getting fitted for a wetsuit, your teeth grow 3 centimeters. The station wagon buried in the backyard comes to life, demanding open-faced sandwiches and overpriced psychoanalysis. Your mother wakes up in her grave and wants to know why you are storing sanitary napkins in her favorite yellow purse. It's not a language if no one understands it. You want to scream at your lawn gnome, but you don't own a lawn gnome. Yesterday, you tried lining up all of your favorite words in a row as if you were a sous chef, as if God would come around later, combine them into some sort of meal. How it started, how it's going. I was reading a blog, trying to find a recipe for lentil stew, but the story about the writer's stepdaughter's missing slipper went on for so long, that by the time I arrived at the ingredient list, the building our apartment is in had been sold and resold and sold again. And even worse, our kitchen had been replaced with a digital oven that turned all ingredients into different flavors of miniature muffins. Tofu piccata muffins, charcoal fondue muffins, hillbilly elegy muffins, death metal NFT muffins, raspberry nepo baby marble dildo muffins. One day, I threw a muffin at the moon. And to my surprise, the moon threw a muffin back. I told everyone in my activist Slack feed that this was a new kind of radical action made more potent by its engagement in celestial intersectionality. Soon we were a whole movement of revolutionary bakers, a federation of militant muffin throwers designed to augment anti-capitalist baking with celestial praxis. Who could have known the muffins had other plans? These 6 emojis explain your life right now. I know how to wrap myself in other people's mishigas. All morning, I read about the woman from Louisiana who can't stop her son from hiding under the bed. A man in South Korea learning to fish in a hotel bathtub. A child across town who swallowed a whole marshmallow, shaped like the Guggenheim. I take screenshots of these strangers' problems and blend them into a banana kale smoothie, drink it from a wine glass with my naked ass deeply sunk in a silk pillow. Afterwards, my body is a pink cloud with winged sneakers. I hover above the data, rain down gossip and other people's pain. This is a kind of freedom, but also what? A kind of tragic happiness, like that cowboy who thinks he can lasso transcendence and tie it to his belt buckle. Or like that photo of the lake on fire your student posted as their grinder pic, or at least claimed he did. Like everything else, you'll never actually know. Click here to learn more. I asked ChatGPT to give me a metaphor for my childhood trauma, but it answered in a language only translatable by ghosts. When I instant messaged all the ghosts I knew, 2 of them were busy redecorating their goth Barbiecore Airstream. 1 had gotten lost in a Mega Market's new walk-in fridge, and the other 3 had taken hallucinogenics made from rabbit poop and had yet to regain consciousness. So I opened my favorite coercive control expose message board. This time, instead of the usual blog links and inside jokes, I saw a video of myself, and on it, the scars from when I was 10, and the substitute teacher hit me with an open bag of Funyuns. The screen was suddenly full of scars, not only my scars, but scars belonging to people I'd never met, and scars on the flesh of people I'd only met in the internet's speckled non-space. All the scars, all scars, wiggling scars, popping and locking scars, right there in the redacted comments of our subreddit, a chorus line of boogieing scars cut the carpet into rugs. Years later, after I'd gotten married, landed my dream job, bought a house, earned a title in my duck pin league, and learned to use the sous vide wand I'd been given at my retirement party, I found that scar again. I'd been examining my body in preparation for my annual dermatology appointment, and there it was. I had almost forgotten about it, but when I saw it again, I was not surprised to see it sway. So I have a bunch of poems in this book that are about movies, so I'm going to read some of those. My thought is that like everything is on the internet, so all of film history is on the internet. I'm kind of thinking about it as, you know, the internet kind of leaks into film. Like there's the meme in this section, I mean, that introduces this section, says the future leaks into the past. Sliding doors. And I had to write a poem about sliding doors, even if it's not a movie I like, because I felt like, you know, since Trump got elected in 2016, we all kind of feel like we're on the wrong timeline. So I feel like we've all been like obsessed with these like multiverse kind of things. Okay, sliding doors. That doesn't really have anything to do with this poem, which is why I wrote it. But yeah. Sliding doors. Gwyneth Paltrow cuts her hair, dyes it blonde, despite her cheating ex. In power suits, she hides her loneliness in the pocket square of the first Monty Python fan who mansplains crypto to her. The other Gwyneth, creature of cottage cheese canned fruit salad, stays in the analog, gives her money to a boyfriend with a stutter, braids her hair into the window blind's cord. But where is the Gwyneth who can inhabit both Gwyneths? The crying in the bathtub Gwyneth who drinks Manischewitz from a crystal vase while simultaneously gliding in an evening gown across an awestruck carpet of chandelier-kissed cater waiters. Can there be a Gwyneth inside each Gwyneth, an infinite regress of Gwyneths? If you stare at the corner of my cell's smashed screen, you can see their reflections, legible despite the surface's cracks. Here's the wind-up troll doll Gwyneth, the Gwyneth with librarian glasses and leather pants, the Gwyneth soaked in glistening placenta, the nosebleed shamanic Gwyneth, the Gwyneth with a house-sized shovel, the Gwyneth running, flying a kite shaped like her own face. In the Matrix, starring Nicolas Cage. Neo is a piss-ass drunk, and it doesn't matter if alcohol is only an idea. Meaning detaches from language and flies in slow motion like a shampoo commercial hair. The absent women shift behind the curtain, a mother's face camouflaged by a William Morris floral, a sister's breath hidden by the smell of an off-season fireplace. The 21st century is riding a bloodshot Ferrari into the mouth of climate change, and it needs pure vodka to make it okay. Nick is naked all the time. Even naked, he sweats through his clothes. Even when he's fully dressed, his dick swings unsheathed. You try lassoing the sky's panopticon with only a goddamn body part. He knows the world isn't real. So why not just buy a big-ass blow-up doll? Why not wear your rubber Donald Trump mask to a crowded theater and flail your octopi limbs at the screen? I think I'll read one more film poem and then maybe a couple more. This is called Singing in the Rain. When they draw the brocade curtain back to reveal who's secretly singing, the actress in the feather evening gown runs away. Now exposed, the algorithm keeps crooning. Tears stream from the stage lights onto the audience. Does anyone notice the sound of one foot tapping? The shadow of Gene Kelly's face morphing into laughter, then rain. So I'll just read maybe a couple. I'll read like 3 more. The way the data crumbles. There was never an algorithmic sex act. That wasn't a real breast that flashed like Magritte's pipe on your tongue. There is no smell of menstrual blood. Still, despite the billions of Barbie dolls clogging the ocean, fish attempt to breathe and fall in love. Seahorses organize the territory. When I still believed in the possibility of a future on Earth, I walked along the shore, collecting letters and bottles. One was written in microscript and purported to tell the history of slavery through the allegory of the cave. The others you had to lick to understand. Taxonomy. Despite the apocalyptic matterscape, knives slice open the quandary. Tufted. A thumb-sized cave with God-sized stalagmites quivering inside. Here becomes I, becomes we, the color of eye whites at midnight, the underside of a knee. Does this mean we are immune to the seduction of sunlight on a patio table, free from starlight's hagiography, the cell phone's quacking ring? Okay, this is the last poem, Data Mind. The joke that replaced our democracy kept waiting for the laugh track to return. I tried to recalibrate my response, tried to say no thank you without turning off the lights. What misery was left, I swept up, hid away in a cracked jar. I cried out, please bring me your cheese fries, longing to be free. I tried again. I chanted now. I called out when. All the clocks in the underground supermarket struck the same mistake twice. The clown's shoes grew a city on their nose. The locks picked themselves. The radio swallowed the television, which swallowed an old hunk of cheese. What I thought was my childhood wore a Groucho Marx mustache on her chest. The joke tap danced on the wall. The wall tap danced on the joke. I clapped my hands together as hard as I could, but I couldn't make anything stop. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joanna. That is absolutely wonderful. Great poems. Very, I saw some of the comments in the chat they were intriguing and amazing and wonderfully acerbic. So you'll have to check those out. I did put in the chat a link in case you were enamored with the poems and wanted to, which I'm sure you were, want to buy a copy of Datamind. You have a link there to Northwestern University's sale page. And then there's also links for 3 other of Joanna's books from the past that you might want to check out some of her earlier work as well. Thank you again, Joanna. Wonderful, wonderful poems.
Thank you.
Okay.